Hello, and welcome back to PTE Tutorials, Presentation Videos. For this presentation video, we will be going over PTE Academic Reading, specifically fill in the blanks. The content of this video will include an introduction on how to complete fill in the blanks, as well as test instructions, how we will do scoring, some strategies, and as in other videos, we will go over a short example. So fill in the blanks is a reading question type. There are two question types here. The first one is during your reading section you will be expected to fill in the blanks, as well as for the reading and writing section you will be expected to fill in the blanks. Former question types assess your reading skills, while the latter evaluates both reading and writing skills. So for the reading section, in this question type, one will have to fill in the words into the appropriate blanks. The options are provided underneath the passage in a rectangular box. Drag and drop to the appropriate option. You can change these choices at any time. However, when you click Next, you will not be able to change your answers. So make sure that you change your answers to your satisfaction before moving on to the next question. For the reading and writing section, it will be the same in that you will have to fill in the blanks with the appropriate word. However, for the reading and writing section, instead of dragging and dropping the words, you will have a drop-down list, and each blank will have different choices from each other. You can change these choices again as much as you like before you move on to the next question. But when you move on to the next question, you cannot change your answers. So make sure that you are satisfied with your answers before moving on. Now for the test instructions. For the reading section, it will be stated as, below is a text with blanks. Click on each blank. A list of choices will appear. Select the appropriate answer choice for each blank. For the reading and writing section, it will say, below is a text with blanks. Click on each blank. A list of choices will appear. Select the appropriate answer choice for each blank. The reading skills that we expect you to have in order to fulfill these questions will be understanding and inferring the vocabulary in prompt as well as choices, identifying the main idea and grammatical clues, so making sure things match up properly, as well as following a logical sequence of the sentences. The step-by-step strategy is going to be skim the entire text carefully. Make sure you understand the general gist of what's going on. Read and understand each sentence completely. Come up with your own word that best fits the context before looking at the other words. This way you will have an idea of the kind of word that you're looking for before you find the word. This prevents a certain bias when looking at the answers. Like I said, now search for a choice that is close to match to what you thought. Never read half of a sentence and then search for the options. Always read the entire sentence, make a guess, and then see if your guess is there or if there's anything similar to your guess. Remember to use language cues in the passage, such as if things are being talked about in the plural, you'll probably be looking for words that'll match up with a plural. Finally, double-check your answers. Reread the passage and see if everything makes sense. If it doesn't, change your answer. Here's a sample question. Sample plans blank, the needs identified in the assessments and objectives blank with those needs. The plan includes goals blank, a priority blank for blank at the programs, and time frames for blank of various objectives. The plan is only blank once the offender has signed it, or the sentence planner's supervisor. The plan is only blank once the offender has signed it, or the sentence planner supervisor has signed that they agree with it, and note the offender's blank to sign. There are rules built into the blank, blank, blank to ensure that activities and blank are targeted appropriately. This is to increase the rehabilitative benefits for the offender and to ensure that the right interventions occur at the right time. An offender's education and blank needs are also addressed in the sentence plan. All offenders with education blank will have access to programs to blank their functioning in this area, and inmate employment blank will be available to appropriate inmates who blank work skills. So let's just make some quick guesses as what we think will be here. Some of these may be wrong. However, the point is to see the process in time. Sentence plans blank the needs identified in the assessments, and objectives blanks with those needs. I would think that sentence plans fit or meet the needs. Would be there. And objectives blank with those needs. Perhaps fit. The plan includes goals blank, a priority blank for blank at the programs, and time frames for blank of various objectives. Well, the last one, I would guess, would be completion. Using that fact, I can work back and see what else might be able to fit in. The plan includes goals, blank, a priority, blank, for blank at the programs, and timeframes for the completions of its objectives. Unfortunately, sometimes you are unable to figure out everything and make a guess. However, we do have an incomplete guess here. The plan is only blank once the offender has signed it, or the sentence planner supervisor has signed that they agree with it, and note the offender's blank to sign. So here, the plan is only blank once the offender has signed it. I would argue that perhaps what this says is the plan is only started because it's requiring something. Once it's signed it, and note the offender's blank to sign. Well, if the planner supervisor is signing it instead of the offender, then probably the offender was refusing. So it would be refusal. Refusal to sign. There are rules built into the blank, blank, blank to ensure that activities and blank are targeted appropriately. Unfortunately, sometimes again you cannot really make much of a guess. However, ensure that activities and programs are targeted appropriately. This is to increase the rehabilitative, etc. An offender's education and skills or skill needs are also addressed in the sentence plan. All offenders with education blank will have access to programs, so probably experience, which we will abbreviate to EXP for now, will have access to programs to blank their functioning in this area. So I would think either suit or complement, as it would go along with their education. And inmate employment blank will be available to appropriate inmates blank work skills. I would argue that employment opportunities, as that would be, which we will abbreviate to OPP, will be available to appropriate inmates to blank work skills. Probably relevant. Now, see what we had. We had include, sentence, planning, interventions, refusal, completion, employment, improve, provide, options, deficits, rating, attendance, finalized, interventions, and associated. So let's see. Sentence plans include the needs, okay, and objectives associated with those needs. The plan includes goals, interventions, a priority rating for attendance at the programs, and timeframes for completion of various objectives. The plan is only finalized once the offender has signed for it, or the sentence, or the supervisor has signed that they agree with it and note the offender's refusal to sign. There are rules built into the sentence planning process to ensure that activities and interventions are targeted appropriately. This is to increase the rehabilitative benefits for the offender. An offender's education and employment needs are also addressed in the sentence plan. All offenders with education deficits will have access to programs to improve their functioning in the area, and inmate employment options will be available to appropriate inmates to provide work skills. As you can see, judging from the word bank that we had here, and my original guesses, I was adding a completely different meaning to the passage, and this is likely to happen. However, noting that these are just best guesses, and then evaluating with what your word bank is, you'll be able to better understand what is going on. Thank you again for watching PTE Tutorials. We look forward to seeing you in our next video.